I know how this sounds. A brush on paint? Yeah, I thought the same thing. Hello everyone. Today, I'm breaking down DIY Detail's perfectly safe brush. How it's made, why it's different from every brush we've been warned about for years, and my honest first wash experience using it around winter conditions. If you find any part of this video entertaining or useful, maybe hit the thumbs up, maybe subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Now, let's dive right in. If you've been around detailing for any amount of time, you've heard it forever. Never use a brush on paint. And honestly, that advice exists for a reason. Most brushes absolutely deserve that reputation. Why do you think there's so much controversy around automatic car washes? From what I've seen, DIY Detail doesn't usually release products unless they're confident in the engineering behind them. And this brush has seemingly been in development for a long time. So let's actually explain why this one is different, and then talk about how it performed in the real world. This isn't a traditional truck or RV brush. Thankfully, the perfectly safe brush is designed for rinseless washing, traditional soap washing, vehicles of all sizes, and faster washes in general with less fatigue overall. It even uses a standard threaded mount, so it works with broom handles, short poles, or longer extensions. No proprietary handles required, which I genuinely appreciate. Of course, I had to find something green to throw on it, so I found a 3-foot extension pole for painting. They come in a variety of colors if you're interested in grabbing one, with a nice foam handle too. I'd maybe consider looking into a longer one, however, depending on your wash needs. The size was great for my little car, but I'll probably grab another one to be prepared for semis or similar situations. I also equipped an adjustable angle adapter with those vehicles in mind for even more flexibility, but that's optional. What also matters here, and something that doesn't get talked about enough in this area, is the base of the brush itself. The bristles are anchored into a wide, stable base that helps evenly distribute contact across the surface. This prevents pressure points that you'd normally get with smaller or unevenly loaded brushes. One of the things that stands out the most is the base is also uniquely angled, facing the bristles in 3 different directions and allowing contact to be made from multiple angles. This is huge considering you won't always be parallel with the brush. But this is where the skepticism usually kicks in, so let's break it down. The biggest difference is the deeply flag-tipped bristles. Instead of ending in a hard plastic point, each bristle splits into multiple ultra-soft strands that eliminate sharp contact points, increase surface area, help hold lubrication, and prevents pressure spots on the paint. The flagging itself is very deep, which lets it carry a lot of liquid. And this is important because, unlike what we've been taught with a sponge, this wash media is meant to stay dripping wet while you use it. Side note, if this felt even remotely sketchy, I wouldn't be using it on my own car, scratch to hell or not. Another detail worth mentioning is that these bristles are acid dipped during manufacturing. That process helps soften and flare out the ends even further, removing any microscopic sharp edges that could otherwise cause marring or worse. The best description I've heard for it is to view them as split ends and hair. A small detail to the eye that absolutely affects how the brush feels on paint, especially once it's wet and fully loaded with solution. Believe it or not, but the second it touched the paint and I witnessed the strands flare out even more, I pretty much stopped worrying. Trust me when I say, it's way softer than it looks. I had it propped up for a few days before filming, and I kid you not, would have to run my hand across it every time I walked by just to be impressed again and again. Traditional truck brushes really aren't even in the same category. They mostly rely on stiff, blunt cut bristles with minimal or no flagging, leading to increased pressure and risk. They're just more so designed to survive repeated wash abuse, not really to protect the paint. The PSB is built around movement, lubrication, and flushing, not force. The longer, softer bristles widen and glide instead of digging, which is the complete opposite. As you may know, a rinseless sponge absorbs dirt into itself, hence the foam material and inserts cut across. This, however, works differently. It flushes contamination off the surface. Every wash media behaves differently. A microfiber mitt traps dirt in the fibers and requires frequent rinsing. A rinseless sponge stores contamination internally and is especially wonderful in controlled environments like garages. This brush doesn't replace those. It fills a different role. Instead of trapping debris, it keeps contamination moving off the surface entirely, suspended in lubrication and flushed away from the paint. Same with any other wash media though, pressure is the real enemy. You can scratch paint with a towel, mitt, sponge, or brush if you lean into it. What makes this one feel safer than expected is that it naturally discourages pressure. If you push too hard, the bristles simply flex instead of digging in, which is a very important safety feature, especially for beginners. But now to talk more about my specific first experience with it. First thing I noticed, it's fast. Like, shockingly fast. Honestly, it might help solve drying issues in all seasons, because if something starts to dry, you can immediately go back over it without hesitation and with hardly any time wasted. I can't even lie, I barely filmed after a certain point because I was just enjoying using it. I really wish I had a POV cam on, especially because I kept saying, "Oh wow," out loud without meaning to. As I hoped, it even handled grills insanely well, just like DIY's wheel and body brush. Think of this as that one's older brother. If you trusted that brush enough on the paint, you'll have no problem using this tool. And I'm sure we'll enjoy the longer reach and bigger surface area. I also didn't have to bend down nearly as much, which is amazing for someone whose knees pop every time I crouch. Nor did I have to constantly grab a smaller detail brush, considering the bristles naturally wrap into seams and tight areas. Now, I definitely went easy on my first pass out of fear, but even then, it worked really well at taking off any traffic film. My car is by no means perfect as a father of two who lives in a rural town full of gravel roads and animals around. It's scratched, winter beaten, and overdue for a full reset. I intentionally kept this wash simple though, so I could judge the brush on its own. It did remove all the tar-like substances and so on. I mean, I didn't expect it to without additional chemicals, but it tackled the traffic film and so on with ease. Even with just rinseless, I could literally see the paint go from a dull gray back to white once again after all the snow and harsh weather we've had. One thing I didn't expect was how confidence boosting this is for rinseless washing. Like I mentioned, you can see the lubrication. You can see the flushing. That said, it does use more liquid than other wash media, so if you're working inside a garage or somewhere that you need to keep things super controlled, a rinseless sponge still makes more sense. But if you've got room to make a little mess, this thing shines. Literally. It's technically more suited for traditional soap washes as well, given how it holds and disperses lubricant, similar to foam and suds. I'll definitely be trying that soon, so let me know if you'd like to see the process. All of this makes the most sense for maintenance washes, winter refreshes, larger vehicles, and really just prioritizing speed without sacrificing safety. With all that said, it's clear this doesn't replace everything either. I still prefer being up close for certain applications, and when weather gets worse and I need to go panel by panel, something like a sponge still makes sense. But with all of the reasons I just listed, and not to mention the health benefits alone, this might be the fastest, safe wash method I personally used. I'm really feeling the need for a bucket dolly afterwards too. Using the extension handle to move the bucket around would speed things up even more. So overall, after giving it my first go after being excited for months on end, I can safely say that so far it's lived up to the hype. It's not a gimmick, it's not a rebranded truck brush, and it's certainly not meant to replace everything. But there's no doubt in my mind that you can and probably will find a place for it in your arsenal that benefits you. I'll keep using it and update you after more washes, but I feel confident enough right now to add it to my go-tos. I really can't wait to try it with Incredible Suds and other car soaps, just to have some fun with piles of foam everywhere. But what do you think? Are you going to give it a try or stick with something a little more traditional? Let me know in the comments. Maybe we can get DIY Details to start a bathroom line of products and make a similar shower brush. I'd love that with how soft these bristles are. Jokes aside, links are below, and if you found this useful, maybe hit the thumbs up, maybe subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Thanks for tuning in, guys, and that's that. See ya.